everyone. So today we're going to speak about integration of the supply chain. In the previous chapters that we spoke about, um, it was about knowing the different transportation modes and supplier management and purchasing management. But in the chapter here, this is what our learning objectives are going to be about. You will understand the definition, you will be understanding the different types of integration, internal and external integration, and the processes in integration. It is also knowing about e-commerce, it's about RFIDs, ERPs. So we're touching base on e-procurement as well. So let's just start. So as you can see, there is a definition in the screen of what we mean when we are saying integration. So it's basically bringing together different groups or incorporating them. It can be functions and organizations, again, formally or informally, um, as long as it is happening for a business setting. Then we need the use of IT to work together and also on a common purpose or a common assignment. Now, the challenge in supply chain integration is to coordinate the activities across supply chain so that the companies and the supply chain can improve its performance. Now, what does that mean? It means reduced costs, it means improved service level, it means a reduced bullwhip effect, better response to changes in demand, and also better use of resources. Now, the integration of processes, systems, and departments is essential to achieve a common goal of responding to the need of customers. Now, this requires internal integration within organizations and external integration with suppliers and customers in the supply chain. Now, internal integration is possible through cooperation by all the functions to commit to a strategic business objective, and also through cross functional teams and company wide integration systems. Um, ex- um, so, if you can see, it would mean that the functions in the departments in the whole company working together, people working together towards a common objective, and it is about functions like purchasing, operations, production, engineering. It can be logistics, marketing, HR, anything you name, all of them coming together. Now, external integration with suppliers and customers can be obtained through cooperative planning, it through cross organizational teams, through supplier and customer relationship management, where there is involvement of IT, and also a process where all of this can be now integrated. So it means linking your internal supply chain to your chosen strategic suppliers and customers. Now, the linking or integration of this external supply chain partners with the internal supply chain partners takes place through 8 key supply chain processes. Now, what are those processes? This is here. Let's go through each one of them. Customer relationship management is where customers and the income that they generate is like a bread and butter for the organization and also the rest of the supply chain. So, over time, it is vital that we develop a good relationship with customers um, in the organization, constantly deliver products and services on time to ensure that your customer is satisfied, and more formal linkages that needs to be formed with these customers because their inputs are of great value to the performance of supply chain. Now, the linking can be done through sharing information across all these supply chain partners that I just mentioned previously. Then, customer service management. Customer service, as you know, is delivered by providing information and communicating with customers. We are ensuring that the delivery of the product and services is done to them, and information can be communicated to customers also through different mediums. It can be through media, it can be personal contact, it can be through um, IT, any mode of IT linkages, it can be e-communication basically. Then information and product or service delivery also needs to be coordinated, and there needs to be monitoring and tracking and reporting of these on the customer service to the right department or personnel in the company. Now, then we speak of demand management. Now, demand management is where the production or operational output of the organization that needs to be linked and balanced with customer demand. So, supply and demand means they should be kept as close as possible in order to make sure that it is efficient and that there is very low inventory that needs to be stocked. So, keeping that in mind, the supply and demand closely should be linked, which means it requires companies to use systems or softwares in place, like your ERP, which we will discuss further on. Then we have order fulfillment process. Now, this consists of activities that deliver products to customers with the highest level of customer service possible at the lowest cost. Now, order fulfillment issues are the location of suppliers, modes of transport, location of production facilities and distribution centers, and the systems used for entering, processing, communicating, picking, delivering, and documenting customer orders. Now, this process integrates the marketing, production, and distribution plans and should therefore link up to customer relationship management, customer service management, supplier relationship management, and returns management. Now, speaking about manufacturing flow management, now this basically is a process of manufacturing a product. So the customers needs to determine what should be made, when it should be made, and in how much quantities. So obviously the manufacturing process will be aligned with the demand management, with the customer relationship management. And on the other side of demand in the supply chain is the sourcing of materials, parts, and services. So, which means it should also be linked to suppliers and supplier deliveries. Now, an adequate material planning system or MRP or ERP will integrate customer requirements, production capabilities, and supplier requirements. So, as you can see, it is also bringing all these planning together using different softwares, and like I said, we're going to speak about it just now. Then we have supplier relationship management. Now, supplier relationships are created with a small number of strategic suppliers, basically the suppliers that deliver materials, parts, and services to the company. Close relationship and constant contact with them is necessary to meet the cost, quality, and customer service objectives. Part of this process is selection of suppliers, negotiating product and service agreements, managing the relationship, monitoring performance, and working together on improvement. And constant communication between this process, materials flow, marketing, and customer feedback is necessary. Then we speak about product development. Now, the new product development process, which is your identifying what is it that needs to be created, identifying are there any customer needs that hasn't been touched yet or are unmet, and then trying to develop a product that will meet the need of customers and delivering the product quickly and effectively to the market, and to make sure that both the customers and suppliers are involved in this process, where customers need to be assured that the new product is going to conform to their needs, and the suppliers must ensure that they meet the manufacturer requirements. So both parties involvement is also equally necessary. And then we have returns management. Returns management is working closely with customer relationship management, because basically, as you can see, returns as the word, it often means with customers that are dissatisfied. So the staff that are working under this team of returns management, they are in excellent position to identify, or they should be in excellent condition to identify product improvement opportunities or to maintain acceptable levels of customer service. And then the objective of returns management is to keep the returns as low as possible. They must work closely with and communicate returns information to the product development team, to production, to logistics, to purchasing, all of that. So as you can see, each of these processes and each of the internal functions and external stakeholders involved in these processes work towards a common goal, which is customer satisfaction. Then we come to MRP, or Material Resource Planning. And now what is it? It's basically a system that integrates planning and scheduling of the internal supply chain, particularly the primary activities, which is your purchasing, production, and marketing. The system uses a computer that calculates the total need of materials that may be required by any operation process at a given point of time, and then the planned quantity of final products to be manufactured during the production or the process in the given period now is broken down into small parts and materials by the computer, and then the computer determines the total need for each type of raw materials and components that needs to be produced, keeping the lead time in consideration so that the materials are received when the production process needs them. So what will be the advantage here? It would mean that the inventory levels are low. They just arrive in time when it is needed for production at any stage. However, the system does work only if the suppliers are extremely reliable when it comes to timely delivery and quality products. And then, with the emergence of e-commerce and supply chain management approach, the MRP system was also further developed to ERP, which we will discuss now. Now, just speaking about the internet and e-commerce that make integration, coordination, or the collaboration of supply chain systems possible, they do so by connecting to the different parties in the supply chain, no matter if they're large or small. And then the internet makes the implementation and use of integrated information systems possible, through which all these functions inside the organizations and supply chain members can communicate and share information. Due to the use of integrated systems, the term e-supply chain management is often used as well. Or e-supply chain management, basically to be defined, is the integration, synchronization, and automation of a physical flow of materials, funds flow, and information flow through the supply chain. The integrated systems make it possible for supply chain members to respond and react more quickly to changes in the supply chain. Okay, then let's speak about e-supply chain. Okay, we discussed it just now. So e-supply chain management also assists and integrates the supply chain partners well on a digital or internet platform. Then moving to e-procurement. Now e-procurement is also a part of e-supply chain management. Now the internet supports the procurement process, and that is done through catalogs, which are electronic marketplaces, electronic auctions, and RFQs, which is online request for quotes. Now e-procurement is also seen as or is commonly used when large volumes of items of a common nature are bought. Now, something that companies buy very often, which is your stationaries or whatever the company's raw material is, the business is about. It can be your, printer, ink, paper, pen, anything that is bought on a regular basis. But if they are purchases that are quite strategic and highly customized products, then they are not processed through e-procurement, because then they are not regular purchases. Okay, so the e-procurement is usually negotiated on a contractual basis, so there have to be purchases that happens often. Then, to summarize some of the advantages of e-procurement, first of all, is purchasing process cost reduction, which is not uncommon for the cost of a purchase order to be greater than the cost of goods. Then supplier consolidation is where the number of suppliers is limited, and increased volume per supplier means better leverage. Then the seller self service, which is reduced cycle time and reduced cost. Then supplier performance analysis, which means to make sure or to enable the procurement organization to manage its suppliers better. Automating and consolidating purchases, which means that there is less chance of any maverick or unplanned purchases that are taking place, and then there are less chances of any sort of misunderstanding or discrepancies that could happen. Then there is less time that is spent on tactical buying and more on strategic procurement. As a e-procurement system, it also tracks all the costs that is involved, which means it allows the company to determine how much to spend on each supplier. It also assists in improvising and um, adding efficiency through the automated procurement system, and it is also making sure that it has a direct impact on cost reduction, better utilization of assets, better approval controls, and faster response time to supplier needs. So as you can see the figure here, this is an example of an integrated supply chain. In the figure, as you can see, there is supplier, there is customer, and as I was speaking just now, through e-procurement using internet, there are transfers, electronic transfers. Then there is flow of materials and supplies, there is flow of information, there is flow of documentation, and again reverse logistics as well, which is basically part of your returns management. Then we speak about RFID. So RFID basically is your e-technology in inventory management. The use of RFID or radio frequency identification has become a common practice in companies. RFID is a valuable technology which tracks inventory in the supply chain. It also is used to obtain information to ensure that the flow of goods across the supply chain from manufacturers to retailers and to the customers happen at the right time and at the right place. RFID is also about improving inventory management and enhancing the supply chain visibility and efficiency. It also prevents out of stock items. It also helps in tracking the goods that are returned through the supply chain. And other benefits also include reduction of labor cost. It also helps in simplifying the business, and it also helps in or assists in reduction of inventory inaccuracies. So there cannot be any mishaps happening due to RFID. E-logistics basically is about using information technology to track and control the movement of goods from one company to another. With this information system being linked in the supply chain, e-logistics, it shows a two-way view of all the documents that are attached to a shipment to all the parties in the supply chain. It also makes possible for different parties to prepare for a receipt of shipments and also activities that add value to the shipment. So this is what ERP system looks like, a generic one. So traditionally organizations, they use material requirement planning, but with the growth of supply chain management, with the growth of e-commerce and global operations, there was the need to share information directly with suppliers, with customers, or with branches that are located in foreign locations. That is where the need for ERP or enterprise resource planning came into picture. As ERP, it is basically putting together a number of specialized systems. What are the specialized systems here? They could be production, they could be inventory planning, they could be about purchasing or logistics, they could be about warehousing, finance, and accounting, they could also be about HR. And making sure that all of this is done using a common shared centralized database. And it also integrates the financial production, supply, and customer order integration together. So what ERP then does is it makes it possible for a company to access information regarding um, the availability of resources at key suppliers directly. It also makes sure that you can directly reach out to your key customers where they have access to company's inventory information or company's manufacturing information. And it is also a mechanism for supply chain members to share information so that scarce resources can be fully utilized to meet the demand, but at the same time minimizing the bullwhip effect. You must be thinking, I also mentioned this term before. Bullwhip effect basically is increase of inventories across the supply chain due to a lack of real time information. Now, what are the advantages of using ERP? It is making sure that it keeps us up to date, and not just a particular member, but all the members of the supply chain, which will make sure that companies can make better decisions. And it also enables the supply, manufacturing, and logistic processes to flow smoothly by providing visibility of order fulfillment process throughout the supply chain. But again, with advantages, with e-platforms comes disadvantages as well. So the main disadvantage would be capital investment that needs to be made, and the time and money to evaluate possible appropriate software applications. Also sometimes it is necessary to make sure to see if a particular ERP system is fit for your organization or not. So, in a nutshell, the chapter provided the overview of material, MRP, ERP, and integration of tools in the supply chain. We spoke about integration and types, the processes in integration, and also how to use technology to make better sharing of information, better coordination, and better efficiency in the supply chain, and make it real and not just a possibility. Thank you.